first by celebrating the power of games. I'm sure each of you can think of one moment where you saw the real impact that games can have on someone's life. Maybe it was your own experience or a moment watching your favorite player, but I think we can all agree that the impact of games like VALORANT goes well beyond our maps. I'd like to bring some folks out here who can attest to the power of games and esports and how they make a real and lasting impact. Please welcome Riot's Head of Social Impact, Jeffrey Burrell, Chief Impact Officer at Solar Impact, Sherry Francois, and CEO of Donors Choose, Alex Guerriere.
Wonderful, and welcome everybody. As David mentioned, my name is Jeffrey Burrell, and I head up social impact here at Riot Games. And being that the VCT is in Los Angeles this year and we're celebrating all things VALORANT, I wanted to take a moment and talk about the power that this community has. And so some of you may be familiar with our in-game fundraisers that we hold every year. And I'm really happy to report that we just closed our latest campaign and it raised $4.3 million. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. But more than that, in the last 3 years that VALORANT has existed, the community has raised over $14 million through our annual Give Back bundle. And this absolutely shocked me when I realized this, because this is the power of the community in such a short amount of time. And so I thought it would be meaningful to start this conversation so we could actually start to celebrate what the players and this community was able to accomplish, because that money, which they raised on their own, is doing a lot of good for a lot of people in a lot of places. And with that, one place that we really see a lot of impact is in the classroom. And that's really what we wanted to talk about today. And so I'm with two absolutely incredible human beings who I am lucky enough to call friends. And I'm going to do my best to sum up your impact that you create, but I will not do it justice, so please correct me. First off is Sherry Francois with Solar Impact. And Solar Impact and their Solar I Can Foundation really focuses on serving underprivileged students all throughout South LA with technology programming, education and curriculum, and skills-based development. And then Alex with Donors Choose is leading a platform where teachers can post any project to support their classroom and their initiatives, and a donor can go back and be able to support any sort of project that they see meaningful to them. And so I believe that Donors Choose has already raised over $1.5 billion.
Yeah, over our history, yes.
And so that is definitely something to celebrate. And so with that, I wanted to start a conversation with each of you on, and starting a little bit of asking the same question, because I think that you find very different lenses when it comes to games and education. And so, Sherry, we'll start with you, but would you mind sharing from your perspective how you've seen the appetite with esports and curriculum grow with students and the impact that it may have had on them?
Yeah, of course. There's an incredible and increasing appetite for esports in schools. If you think about academic institutions, major academic institutions are awarding scholarships. Their players are now considered athletes. More and more middle schools and high schools are adopting esports curriculum, teams, and clubs. In our community of South LA, what I think students were more traditionally gaming on consoles, they've now transitioned to PC gaming, which is very exciting because it affords the opportunity to be much more competitive. Our esports entrepreneurship center, powered by Riot Games, by the way, is, thank you, is incredible because our esports teams, right out of South LA, we have 2 teams and they just started. We've only been open for less than a year and they've just started competing. They've just started playing, and we have a 2-time championship in Rocket League, Shout out to the team out there, Colin, our coordinator. And watch out, folks. We're training up in VALORANT right now. So I wholeheartedly expect and plan to see our teams on the VCT stage taking the championship at one point.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I have to say that we have seen some of your students game before, and they have a lot to teach, especially old people like me. So I can't wait to see them up here as well. And then Alex, back to you, same question.
Thanks. First, let me just say that it is a thrill to be here. I've known you for a number of years now, but this is my first time on the Riot Games campus. My colleague and I are walking around just wide-eyed at the amazing tech and the excitement that's in the air, and like we're so pumped to be able to observe some of the events later today. So thanks for inviting us. As you mentioned, Donors Choose, we are a nonprofit, we operate nationally, and we have a platform where teachers, any public school teacher in the country, can come on to Donors Choose and create a request for stuff that they need in their own classroom for their own kids. And that gives us a really interesting lens into what those needs are. You know, we can see what people are listing and how they're describing the projects. And knowing that I was going to be here today and talking to this audience, we did a look and found that in addition to other stuff that you might be able to guess, books, etc., we have an increasing number of teachers who are coming to Donors Choose to get consoles, accessories, PC equipment to support gaming clubs, virtual reality clubs, esports teams in their schools. And in fact, when we looked at the history, we've seen that actually this category sort of under our noses has been growing. It's grown 150% over the last 5 years, and it does not show signs of stopping. I think it's actually accelerating. And so we expect that this will continue to be a growth area on our platform. And when we look at the descriptions and what is driving teachers to do this, it's pretty clear. One is people are looking for ways to engage students. And this can be an incredible way to get students bought in, tie into worlds that they already are familiar with, bring it to school, and let them be their full selves in school. And it also ties to technology skills. I mean, one of the, actually right around here, there's a high school in LA where a teacher used Donors Choose to get a bunch of PC equipment and use that as a learning experience. They actually built the computer with their students. And of course, it's sort of an exposure to a whole world of new and innovative job opportunities. So we're really excited about this growing category on Donors Choose.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that brings a really good point because Sherry, I know that you have an entire curriculum to teach students how to build their own computers as well. And one thing that has really stood out to me is that you work with so many companies and you have like these really amazing partnerships that are highly resonant to students to teach them the skills for the next job. Not necessarily like, oh, here's something that is easy today, but you can take it and find out, here are the skills that's going to help you in the future. Can you share a little bit more about how you start to think about these opportunities and what makes a good fit for your curriculum?
Partnerships. Partnerships are absolutely key. To that note, Cisco is providing certifications for our students, and the opportunity for a student coming straight out of our center making entry-level $75,000 is an opportunity they just would not normally have access to. So we're very, very strategic about the establishment of our partnerships, those that are mission aligned, and Riot, of course, is a marquee partner, and the social impact is in parallel to exactly what we're setting out to do, to really provide the access and opportunity to underinvested Black and Brown communities. And so we have to ensure that we're mission aligned, that the partners understand the need, that are helping eliminate, not just bridge, but eliminate the digital divide and it takes a village, quite frankly.
And I would be remiss if we didn't actually acknowledge that just about a year ago, we opened up the SOLA Tech and Entrepreneurship Center here in South Los Angeles. If you have a chance, I would highly encourage you to check it out. And I remember us talking of like, what would be a stretch goal? And we were saying like maybe 1,000 students if we could help serve. And if you think about that, 1,000 students who now have the possibility and the ideas of a brighter future, of what it could take for them to learn new skills and develop. And I believe we have updated numbers on that.
We do. We've surpassed it. We're very excited that, yes, our stretch goal was to serve and train 1,000 students. This past year, since our official opening, we have served and exposed 2,500 students to different career pathways: arts, media, entertainment, gaming, esports, technology, and entrepreneurship. And we're just scratching the surface. So thank you to Riot, and it certainly is a testament on how the partnerships work.
Completely our pleasure. Thank you. And now, Alex, turning back to you, I think what is really unique about Donors Choose is that it's a platform where teachers are able to post exactly the projects that they see and they need, but can't necessarily get the resources for. And so it's very grassroots driven. And I think that you're really interfacing with these teachers directly. Would you mind sharing a little bit about some of the trends that you see and what's going on with students today all across the country?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the data provides a unique window. Like I said, we're all over the country. 87% of schools have had at least one Donors Choose project. And so we are constantly looking at the data as well as supplementing it with spending as much time in schools as possible. And I would say, in terms of trends, it's a mix of stuff that you might guess and also some surprising, insights. On the side that you might guess, teachers remain focused on literacy and reading. They remain focused on STEM, and maybe that would have been new of maybe a decade ago, but that continues to be a strong area of focus. Slightly newer, especially over the last few years in the pandemic, is a really clear focus on emotional and social well-being, and teachers looking for resources, care, hunger, all sorts of things like that, to support other needs of their kids. And so all of that continues to be strong. To the earlier question, I kind of gave an example of one of the teachers that used Donors Choose to, build this computer with his kids, a high school teacher here in LA. We also are seeing new ways that teachers are stretching themselves beyond the basics. So yes, they request books. Yes, they request computers, but they're also doing all kinds of other things to really stretch themselves to do their best to help bring students' dreams to life. It's like a privilege of my role that I get to, not only read these, but meet some of these teachers. And so we try our best to support teachers in doing that. And maybe that's good context for an announcement that I get to make today. We've known each other for a while. And one of the things that I've learned from you over the years, and you sort of made reference to it earlier, is that among this community, there's an incredible generosity, that it's a fiercely competitive community, but also a really generous one. And Riot Games overall has a really strong focus on social impact. And so I get to announce a new partnership that you guys are really stepping up in a huge way, and supporting, matching up to $200,000 worth of donations on Donors Choose for this new, brilliant category of projects, which is middle and high school teachers who are posting on Donors Choose with gaming and virtual reality, that you are going to match any donation up to $200,000. That's incredible. And also that you are announcing that you've actually made a donation to every such project. So middle and high school teachers posting these projects in the state of California. And so, in fact, every teacher, that is definitely applause worthy.
Thank you. Yes, and like I said, it is absolutely our pleasure to get to know you, to support, to highlight some of the work that the Valorant community has been able to thrive and support over. And I hope that they can realize that being part of this community is so important because it does have a real impact into the world and the lives of so many others. And so with that, I'd like to turn it back.